Hi, Kinder friends. For today for science, I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about this animal, penguins. There's lots of different animals that live in Antarctica or the southern hemisphere of the world. Let me show you again on my globe. Here's our globe of the world. And this whole part here under the equator is called the southern hemisphere. That's kind of just how we talk about where we are in the world. So we call this the southern hemisphere, and this is the northern hemisphere. We live in the northern hemisphere. Okay, so we're closer to the Arctic or the North Pole. But if we travel past the equator down here, this is the southern hemisphere, and this is where penguins live in the southern hemisphere. And many of them live down here in Antarctica, which we're learning about as our next habitat. So here is a book about penguins. You know something cool about this book? It's double-sided. And look at on the other side, they're polar bears. But we're talking about Antarctica today, and we know polar bears do not live in Antarctica. So we're going to read the penguin book. All right. Penguins are birds. They cannot fly, but they are very good swimmers. There are 17 different kinds of penguins. Penguins are only found in the southern hemisphere. Some penguins live in Antarctica, which is the coldest place on Earth. Penguins often live in very large groups called colonies. Look at all these penguins. Oh my goodness, it looks like a concert for penguins. Millions of birds can live in one colony. Millions of penguins in one colony. Penguins have excellent eyesight. They can see clearly underwater as well as on land. Penguins can swim faster and dive deeper than any other bird. Their wings act as flippers, and their waterproof feathers keep their skin dry. A thick layer of fat keeps them warm in the cold water. That's really important, is staying warm, especially when you live in the coldest place in the world. Penguins are very camouflaged when they're swimming. I think this is really cool. Their dark feathers on their back make them hard to see from above. So if you were in an airplane above the ocean and there were penguins swimming, you probably wouldn't be able to see them because their black top of their back blends in with the water. And then from below, their white feathers blend into the sunshine, hiding them from predators underneath. So if you were under a penguin in the water and you look up, all the sunlight kind of messes with your eyes in the water, and so you wouldn't be able to see the penguin very well. So their black and white pattern is actually camouflage. That's why they have those colorings. And camouflage is just a covering or some way to help you disguise and kind of hide in your environment. Penguins find their chicks by listening for each baby's unique call. So each baby has their own unique voice. Penguins feed their babies by coughing up food from their stomachs. They pour the mixture into the chick's beak. A lot of birds do that. Penguins have to protect their eggs and chicks from birds of prey such as eagles and hawks. Penguins are hunted by leopard seals, sharks, and killer whales. So they have to watch out for all of these. They have to watch out for the birds of prey, and they have to watch out for sharks, and leopard seals are really kind of grumpy animals, and killer whales. Emperor penguins are the biggest of all penguins. They can hold their breath for 20 minutes when they are diving. An emperor penguin is about as tall as a kindergartner, so you are about as tall as a penguin. The emperor penguins, which are the tallest. Emperor chicks sit on their parents' feet for 50 days after they hatch. The ice is too cold for the baby penguins to stand on. Isn't that cute? Fairy penguins, also called little blue penguins, are the smallest of all the penguins. They are only 13 inches tall. That's about as tall as this book, maybe a little taller. So you could hold a little fairy penguin if they'd let you. I don't know if they would. Magellanic penguins and fairy penguins dig holes called burrows. This is where they lay their eggs. There's the burrows right there. Galapagos penguins live close to the equator. They lay their eggs in caves to protect them from the hot sun. They are the rarest of all penguins. Rare means that there's not very many of them and they're hard to find in the wild. And the Galapagos Islands are very famous islands near the equator that you'll learn more about when you get older. It's a famous place. Chinstrap penguins, look at they have the chin strap, live on icebergs in winter. They get their name from their black band under their beaks. It looks like a chin strap. Look at this fun penguin. Rockhopper penguins live in steep, rocky places. They hop from rock to get around. Rockhoppers are very loud and noisy. They are not scared of other animals and will attack anything that upsets them. So they're not the most friendly of penguins, but they are the most fun looking, I think. Yellow-eyed penguins live in New Zealand. Like many penguins, they are an endangered species. The biggest threat to the survival of penguins comes from human activities, such as an oil spill or plastic litter. That's why we have to take care of the earth, because we're not the only ones who live here. All the animals count on us to take care of the earth. And that is the end of that book about penguins. Then here's the polar bear pages. Ooh. All right. So penguins live all over. You heard the Galapagos Islands are right over here somewhere. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong part of the world. Here's the Galapagos Islands off the coast of South America. The yellow-eyed penguin lives over here in New Zealand. Here's New Zealand down here, not too far from Antarctica. The emperor penguins live in Antarctica, so there are penguins all over. They don't just live in the cold part. They live all over the southern hemisphere. But they're very interesting. One fun challenge, if you have time, find like a sport ball, like a soccer ball or something like that, and pretend to be an emperor penguin. So you have to kind of put your feet close together and balance the ball on top of your feet and try to walk. Now, we're not built like emperor penguins, so it's not going to work perfectly, but it is kind of a fun challenge. And you can't squeeze the ball between your legs or anything. You have to set it on top and try to balance it and walk. See how far you can walk doing that. That's a fun penguin challenge, because those father penguins, remember, spend 2 months balancing an egg on top of their feet in the cold Antarctica winter. And they don't eat, they don't do anything, they just balance the egg for 2 months. So try yourself to balance, see if you can balance a ball on top of your feet for that long. Pretty cool, huh? All right, well, I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about penguins, and I'll see you later. Bye.